In first up, market veteran Peter Brandt is predicting XRP is about to take off. And honestly, I'm still wrapping my head around this one. If you know Peter, you know he's been one of the most vocal critics of XRP, what I like to call a textbook case of XRP derangement syndrome. And now he's bullish? Crazy, right? I'll break it all down for you. It's kind of wild, but hey, I'll take it. I'm cautiously optimistic, but it's definitely a step in the right direction for XRP fans. Let's see where this goes. So here's something exciting. There's a CEO of a major crypto investment firm managing $1 billion in assets who believes the XRP rally is just getting started. Yep, you heard that right. If you're thinking XRP has the potential to make you seriously wealthy, you're not alone. We're talking about highly successful, wealthy individuals, people with a solid track record of smart financial decisions who share that same belief. It's not just you, me, or some random internet voices hyping XRP. This is real, and some of the biggest names in the game agree that XRP could be worth so much more than where it's at today. Some of the most successful folks in finance and investing believe XRP could be worth a lot more in the future. And I've got a few examples to share. But before we dive in, let me be super clear. I don't have a financial background, and this isn't financial advice. Please don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say or write. Always do your own research. Peter Brandt, what a legend, right? This guy has been trading for nearly 50 years. Yes, 50. And he's seriously great at what he does. I genuinely mean it. The man's got skills. He first made waves in the crypto world back in 2017 when he called Bitcoin's peak and nailed it. Then in December 2018, he called the bottom for Bitcoin, spot on again. No wonder he's racked up a massive following since then. I mean, he's probably close to 1 million followers on X by now. Peter's super talented, and his accuracy is impressive most of the time. That is, except when it comes to XRP. Despite years of skepticism and mispredictions, XRP is now catching the attention of analysts with a bold new forecast. One popular analyst, known for their charting accuracy across other assets, predicts that XRP is about to slingshot to $10 with haste. While past biases seem to cloud judgment on this coin, the current analysis points to a significant upward movement. After missing the first pump of the cycle in November 2024, he flipped his predictions multiple times, initially calling for doomsday. He quickly changed to a positive outlook when the market surged, only to turn negative again shortly after. Now, the popular analyst predicts XRP is about to slingshot to $10 with haste. Check this out. This is from March 26, 2025, a headline from Cointelegraph. XRP price at risk of 50% plus correction if bearish trading pattern holds. They're referencing a post from Peter Brandt, where he warned about a potential head and shoulders pattern forming, which could drive XRP down to $1.07. But here's the thing. Other analysts took a closer look and said, no way, this isn't a head and shoulders pattern at all. It doesn't meet the technical standards. And many were surprised that someone as skilled as Peter Brandt could get it so wrong. Even as someone who's not a chart guy, you can tell something's off. Just looking at it, it clearly doesn't resemble a head and shoulders. You don't need to be an expert to see that it's obviously not the case. Still, Brandt stuck to his argument, which sparked quite the debate. The only other analyst I saw even suggesting this might happen was Ali Martinez. That's it. Just two people. One guy with what I would call XRP derangement syndrome, and another who just made a bad call, but thankfully doesn't fall into the derangement camp. None of the other XRP chart analysts I follow, dozens of them, thought this idea made sense and they were right. It feels like he's just projecting what he wants to see happen. Of course, now XRP is performing ridiculously well. It starts moving up and surprise, surprise, he's changed his tune again. Seriously, looks like he's finally had enough of making mistakes. At least I think so. I was saying the same thing at the end of last year, but then he flipped negative again and went completely off the rails. Honestly, I have no idea what's going on with him. I can't figure out how his brain works or why he acts the way he does. It's like he's got a case of XRP derangement syndrome. Seriously, it's a thing. It's like it turns people's brains into applesauce. Folks who are usually great at analyzing complex situations suddenly lose all logic when it comes to XRP. Brains go from sharp to mashed potatoes, or sometimes a mix of both. I don't know how or why it happens. It's a mystery, but apparently he's flipped again. Even Peter Brandt is on board saying XRP is about to take off. Check this out. He posted yesterday, Friday, just as XRP was starting to move up. Sure, it was already gaining momentum when he wrote it, but this is what he said. Everything I've come to know about charts tells me the next trend in this mystery market will be up up, up. The market is just pausing in the yellow box. Pretty exciting, right? That's exactly what I've been saying all year. Ever since XRP hit its all-time high, it's basically been consolidating throughout 2025. Looks like he's finally speaking some truth. It's just a consolidation phase. There was never any real risk of dropping to $1.07. That was never going to happen, folks. And no, it wasn't a head and shoulders pattern either. Now he's finally acknowledging what the charts are showing. Up, up, up. Interesting, right? He's officially flipped. Even Peter Brandt, who's been pretty critical of XRP in the past, seems to agree with us now. He's on board with the idea that XRP's value is set to skyrocket from where it is today. Here's a fun update from Dark Defender, poking a bit of fun at those who are calling for a head and shoulders pattern. A lot of folks were talking about it. I even remember the blockchain backer addressing the claim, saying, no, this isn't a head and shoulders. And I'm paraphrasing here. Dark Defender is on the same page and has been nailing his calls in the XRP world, including last year's breakout. Yesterday, he shared this. Where is the head and shoulders crew now? XRP hit $2.77. Fibonacci level 2, a clear wave 5 breakout. Congrats to those who believe in waves. They're winning. And he wasn't wrong. XRP kept climbing, hitting as high as $2.97 on some exchanges. So where is everyone? Seriously, where are the head and shoulders people with their itchy, flaky scalps? I have no idea what's going on there. Anyway, let's talk about Dan Tapiera. I don't know a ton about him, but I like what I've seen. He's popped up in a few YouTube interviews, just chatting about crypto, and he comes across as a sharp, no-nonsense guy. He's not specifically an XRP guy, but he's definitely not against it either, at least not that I've seen. He's made some solid points, acknowledging that XRP is here to stay, has a vibrant community, active developers, and actual utility. Pretty refreshing, right? So earlier today, he shared this post and said, these are epic charts, explosion up, just starting, XRP and gold, following Bitcoin. All right, everyone, let me tell you, this guy isn't just some random person. He's the CEO. Let me show you. See the team page right here? That's him, the CEO of Tint Holdings. And check this out. His firm manages 1.2 billion in assets. Yep, billion with a B. That's seriously impressive. Now, Tint Holdings isn't your typical venture capital firm, and they're not directly investing in crypto as far as I know. What they do is focus on mid to late stage companies in the crypto world. There are crypto companies out there that are already well established and not going anywhere. Sure, you might not see the crazy upside of newer ventures, but there's also a lot less risk. That's the trade-off. What's cool is that he stepped in to fill a gap in the market. Up until then, there really wasn't a firm, at least none that I know of, focused on providing exposure to crypto companies that are solid and established without being the super risky brand new startups where most of them fail. It's a middle ground, less risk than betting on new ventures, but still way more potential upside than, say, putting your money in the S&P 500. That's the thought process behind it. And honestly, it's pretty awesome how he saw the need and created a solution. He's definitely a smart guy. He's built something truly unique that no one else is really doing, and it's paid off big time. He's grown to managing 1.2 billion in assets. Recently, he shared some thoughts on XRP, saying it looks like it's about to freaking blow, his words. He even shared an XRP chart to back it up. Sounds like he's been keeping an eye on XRP for a while now. Well, here's a post he shared on December 1st last year. By then, XRP was already on a roll. It had climbed pretty high. Around that time, it was probably close to $2.90. Actually, it hit $2.90 on December 2nd. So when he posted this, it was sitting at $2.41. Anyway, take a look at this. He wrote about XRP, saying it added 100 billion in value in just 4 weeks, a 400% increase. Then he asked, does anyone really know why he called XRP the most misunderstood, or maybe just not understood, cryptocurrency? It's constantly criticized on X, but let's be real, adding 100 billion in 4 weeks doesn't just happen by accident. Definitely not a fluke. Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple are finally vindicated. What a great moment. Honestly, this is a solid point, and he's absolutely right. It's something many of us in the community already know. We've been living in reality, focusing on the facts and following the truth. When we started digging into XRP, most of us came in with an open mind, eager to figure out what's really going on. And what did we find? Real utility. And here's the thing, utility matters. At the end of the day, it's what will stand the test of time. That's just how investing works. Coins without real purpose won't stick around forever, but XRP is actually useful. So it was only a matter of time before its price started to rise. especially once the SEC drama, which didn't even need to happen, got resolved. Even Raoul Pal sees it now. If you don't know him, Raoul Pal is a former Goldman Sachs exec who's been holding XRP for several years. He's also the founder of Real Vision and a global macro investor. That guy is an absolute treasure trove of knowledge. He chimed in here in response to Dan Tapiero, who pointed out that XRP has a solid chart and Doge too. It's interesting because even some of the most brilliant minds in crypto, like Raoul Pal, are backing this up. Honestly, I'd say Raoul's insights and perspective are top notch, no question about it. He's been one of the loudest voices emphasizing the global macro perspective and how Bitcoin and the entire crypto asset class are influenced by it. I actually learned a lot of that from him, and now I try to share that message whenever I can. Raoul and Julian Biddle over at Real Vision have been spreading this idea like wildfire, and it's so exciting to see it gain traction. Even someone like Ralph Paul doesn't get everything right. Take XRP, for example. Back in the second half of 2024, before XRP really took off, he cautioned people against what he called a cult-like mentality. He was referring to the XRP community and those who, in his opinion, blindly believed a narrative he thought wasn't true. At the time, I remember thinking, this is surprising. I even said it back in August 2024, months before XRP's big move. I just felt like he didn't fully understand what he was talking about and probably should have held off on making those comments. It happens though. No one gets it right 100% of the time. It's pretty clear to me he doesn't hate XRP. There was no negativity in what he said. He just made an assumption based on the fact that the coin's price hadn't been moving. But honestly, he should know better than that. Just because a coin's price isn't moving doesn't automatically mean it's dead. Sure, that can happen, but price stagnation doesn't necessarily mean the end of the road. There's more to it than that. If you take a look at the XRP ecosystem, it's clear it's one of the most practical and useful coins out there. There's a reason it's consistently been in the top 10 coins by market cap since it launched, right? So when he made that comment, I was honestly surprised. My first thought was, wow, that's not going to age well for him. And well, it didn't. Even the smartest people can get it wrong sometimes. The issue here is that he didn't actually analyze the situation. He just shared an opinion. And honestly, if he didn't have the full picture, it probably would have been better not to say anything at all. If he had really done the analysis, I don't think he would have said what he did. But honestly, he seemed genuine, like he truly just wanted people to catch the bull run and not miss out. I do believe his intentions were good, no doubt about that. To his credit, though, he admitted he was wrong. On December 2, after XRP had already taken off, he straight up said, "You were right. I was wrong. Well done. Dinosaurs still roam the earth." And honestly, that's how you build trust. When you're clearly wrong and everyone can see it, you don't double down and try to spin it. You just own it. No ego, no excuses. Just say, yep, I was wrong, and move on. That's the kind of honesty people respect. It's okay to be wrong sometimes. Nobody's perfect, right? What really stood out to me, though, was how he owned up to it. By doing that, he built even more trust with me and everyone else who follows him. I remember thinking, wow, that's a stand-up guy right there. We all get stuff wrong. It's totally fine. What I can't stand is when people won't own up to their mistakes and try to brush it off. You're willing to lie about something so obvious, something everyone can see through. It makes me wonder, what else are you hiding? That's how trust gets broken. And when that happens, I stop wanting to follow you. But this wasn't the case here. He handled it with integrity. And honestly, my respect for him only grew. The guy's got a wealth of knowledge, and I don't think I could be a bigger fan of Ralph Hall. He's really come around, and I think he's taken a closer look at XRP since then. Now he's totally on board and believes it's going to take off. I couldn't agree more. Though here's the thing, just yesterday evening, he posted again. He's like, yep, XRP has an awesome chart. And honestly, that's not the only time he's talked about XRP recently. He's convinced it's going to take off. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. It's so clear. Seriously, could it be any more obvious? No one should be surprised that XRP is on the rise. If you've been paying attention, this was bound to happen. And then there's Ralph Hall. He's come around too. Now, to be fair, he's never fallen into the whole XRP derangement syndrome thing, but he made the switch because, well, it just makes sense right now. Paul Barron recently shared a post, and if you don't know him, he's got a huge YouTube channel with 1.5 million subscribers. He focuses on tech and occasionally talks about crypto, not exclusively though. What I really like about Paul is that he's super data driven and genuinely seeks the truth. You can tell he's not about the tribalism and that's so common in the crypto world. Just 11 hours ago, he posted something intriguing. Could the volatility repeat itself? XRP, we may be nearing that point. At the time of his post, XRP was sitting at $2.81. And he's feeling optimistic about where it's headed. He doesn't usually make statements like this, so the fact that he's looking into it and acknowledging it, especially since he knows his way around charts, definitely caught my attention. This was actually reposted by XRP community member Frecky. If you don't know Frecky, he's been in the crypto space since 2011 and has a solid background as a financial professional with a whole career in finance. He's been into XRP pretty much from the very beginning, just as early as you can get. The same goes for Bitcoin, actually. He's confident that XRP is a clear winner and things are about to get crazy. According to him, XRP won't just hit $5. It's going to break out in a big way after that. Pretty exciting, right? He's not saying $5 is the peak. It's just the beginning of something bigger. To back this up, here's a headline from Crypto Basic. Bitcoin expert confirms XRP forces its way into Bitcoin conversations as demand for XRP is real. Interesting, isn't it? Tim Kotzman, host of the Bitcoin Treasuries podcast, recently pointed out that the media is buzzing about XRP nonstop. He mentioned this during an interview with Ben Workman, CIO at Swan Bitcoin. At Swan Bitcoin, it seems like everyone has a bit of XRP arrangement syndrome, at least from what I've seen. Even with a Bitcoin first mindset, Kotzman pointed out that conversations with journalists and financial media often shift toward XRP. Why does that happen? Because there's always so much interest around it. The media covers it because people want to read about it. It's that simple. There's a massive organic demand for information and stories about XRP, and it comes from a truly global audience. This community is real. It's huge. And honestly, it's one of the best in the entire crypto space. I genuinely believe that, and it's pretty clear. It's true. It's no surprise that as XRP continues to grow organically, it's catching more attention, and not everyone is thrilled about it. Some Bitcoin maximalists are clearly being asked about XRP, and it's making waves. Why? Because XRP offers solutions that Bitcoin simply can't. Think about it. What utility does Bitcoin have that XRP doesn't? The answer is none. But when you flip the question, what can XRP do that Bitcoin can't? Well, the list goes on. XRP's technology is far more advanced, making it a better fit for practical use cases. For instance, imagine trying to use Bitcoin as a bridge currency. It would only add friction with slow, expensive transactions. On the other hand, XRP was built to solve these problems, offering speed and cost efficiency. It's not about tearing down Bitcoin. It's about recognizing that XRP is purpose-built to handle tasks that Bitcoin just isn't designed for. Bitcoin just doesn't have the capabilities that XRP does, and it's no surprise that some people heavily invested in Bitcoin feel a bit threatened by that. Naturally, but here's the exciting part. The explosion for XRP is coming. As Dan Tapiero from 10T said, the XRP explosion up is just starting, and he's absolutely right. We saw the first big pump over half a year ago back in November. Now what's really thrilling is the second pump. Historically, it's been much bigger than the first in terms of XRP's price against the dollar. If history repeats itself, and we think it might, the potential growth in value could be through the roof. That's what makes this moment so exciting. It's nice to see more people starting to come around, isn't it? Some folks need a little push, or maybe they need to be dragged over kicking and screaming. You know what I mean? My brain took a second there, but that's the phrase, right? Dragged, kicking, and screaming. But hey, eventually people figure things out. And honestly, there's never been a better time to be an XRP holder, my friends. Have you seen the momentum with XRP? Just wait. When it takes off, it's going to be incredible. I've been waiting nearly a decade for this moment, and I can feel it. Things are about to happen. We're so close now. It's hard to miss the signs. That said, I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say or write. Always do your own research first.